And then the last is the last two, adrenal and pancreas. Adrenal. Okay, the adrenal gland, you remember, like the pituitary, had a special stain. Ooh, remember those? Yeah, you don't have to know the different zones, although they are pretty characteristic.
Put your laptop on it and then tilt this upward so it's...
I just love the way they look in high power, that's so interesting. But I think we'll probably do that at medium. This is the surface of the adrenal gland. This is the zone that makes aldosterone. This is the zona fasciculata. You see lots of these parallel capillaries. And then, but you don't have to remember the zones, but they're all part of the adrenal cortex. So what type of hormones does the adrenal cortex make?
Cortisol.
No, yeah, cortisol. What type? What's the general type? Steroids, yes. The adrenal cortex makes steroids. That's what it makes.
This is the adrenal cortex.
That's the type of hormone it makes. Give me an example would be, the most obvious example is
Cortisol.
Cortisol, yeah. It's the most abundant one. Now we get to this area where the color is more greenish, you see.
Blue.
And the boundary is very clear between the standard purple and a more of a greenish color.
Blue.
It looks greener in the microscope than it does on the TV screen.
Okay.
Trust me, it's green.
It looks green on the camera.
It is actually.
The camera looks green too.
I understand that it looks more blue than green here, but that's...
No, in the camera it looks green, so it's fine.
The camera looks green? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Your camera changes it back. Yeah, so here's more reddish, here's more greenish. That's because it's this is the chromaffin cells of the adrenal, this is the medulla, And what's the most abundant hormone? Adrenaline, right.
Adrenaline in the medulla.
Yeah, adrenaline, or as everybody calls it now,
Let me
epi.
make sure it's in here.
If you say epi, I want you to spell out epinephrine. So
I won't even go there.
That's okay, Maggie. You don't have to spell it. Just say adrenaline.
I will.
All right, so that's it for the adrenal gland, basically. Okay.
No, the pancreas.
Huh?
No, next was the pancreas.
See, a lot of this, there's a lot of red in there because that's capillaries. I really like the high power view, because you see all those neat capillary, the way they sort of
That's cool.
because the flow through the adrenal gland is very interesting, blood flow. So that's a nice high power view of the adrenal cortex. Zona fasciculata looks like that, very characteristic.
We don't need to know the zone.
I won't ask you that. No.
The zone things.
I just like that slide. It's a very nice illustration.
The
Peg
pancreas.
endocrinology, you will have to know that for sure. So let's see.
Pancreas.
Pancreas. Okay.
I'm tired.
Just keep switching ends.
Well, let's see if we can find a good example of it. Ooh, look at that. A nice, big, fat. Let's get one that fits into it. How about that one? Okay. So that clump of cells in the middle is that's an islet, yes.
An islet. Okay.
And name a hormone that makes. Oh, come on, they even advertise it on TV. Get this neat little pen to inject your daily
Insulin. Islet makes insulin.
Insulin or glucagon.
Glucagon.
Now,
Glucagon
the organ is
insulin.
the... What organ is that?
Kidney.
If you thought that was a dumb answer, why didn't you come out with the right one?
I know it's not the kidney.
Okay. All right, so that's the pancreas, right?
Yeah, I was
I get them
wondering.
confused all the time. Kidney,
Well, here's the
But
thing, yeah.
we know we're looking at the pancreas. Okay, never mind.
Cells get confused too, you know, if they try to do a
So pancreas.
transplant, they take beta cells and, you know, like let's say from an animal or something like that, to try and do a transplant. They'll suspend the cells and inject the cells in the bloodstream and they end up in the kidney. They still work, but the cells are just as confused as you are. They go to the kidney instead of the pancreas.
I'm just a bunch of confused cells.
Isn't that interesting? So,
This is the pancreas, and that's the islet, and that
that's an islet that makes insulin.
makes
glucagon.
insulin and glucagon.
And of course they control blood sugar.
Controls blood sugar.
Control blood sugar.
I need to make sure it's in here.
Yeah, right?
An islet has a silent S. Don't forget.
Very important.
I would need to know that. Me and my spelling issues.
So there we
I never know
go.
how to spell islands.
And remember, what does most of the pancreas do?
Huh?
What does most of the pancreas do? Most of it makes enzymes, right? Digestive enzymes.
And you
Yeah,
pointed.
the islets, which is a relatively very small part of the pancreas, makes hormones. Because remember, hormones are message molecules, much less mass than,
Pancreas
you know,
molecule.
bulk nutrients or active molecules like enzymes. Now, just a general word about the practical, where a lot of students lose points. Read the question carefully. If I ask for the name of an organ, give me the name of an organ. If I ask for the name of a tissue type, give me the name of a tissue type. If I ask for the name of a specific structure, like an islet, a group of cells, or it may be in some cases subcellular, they're really big cells like the motor end organs, which we'll see, and give me the name of the structure. If I ask for the name of the structural unit or the functional unit, then give me that. You know. If I ask you for a typical one is where I'll show us picture the testis and ask for the name of the structure, and it's a seminiferous tubule, and people write testis. I didn't ask you for the name of the organ, so you lose points on those. So answer the question. You know, if you answer a semi-right, you may get part credit, but read the question carefully so that you're actually answering what the question asks. So now we're on from endocrinology, going on to, speaking of the testis.
Spinal cord.
Oh no, speaking of the motor end organs, we're into the nervous system. So now we have the. Well, before we do that, let's do this.
What does structure mean?
So, is that like the parts of the organ?
Yeah, well,
The
sometimes
structure-
it's the parts of an organ, sometimes they may even be parts of cells, but that's the way I gave it to you as the structural unit of, let's say, muscle, the sarcomere, you know, that kind of thing, and which is in that case is part of a cell. It may be an islet, which in that case is a multicellular structure. The structure could be subcellular or multicellular.
Okay.
If I ask for a cell type, give me the cell type.
Okay. So whatever, like, the details of an organ.
Whatever I ask for, that's the name that I want you to come up with. You know.
I don't know.
I won't necessarily be asking for the organ or the cell type, but just read the question and see what we're asking. What am I looking for? I'm looking for
The mammal,
this
spinal
guy.
cord, or ganglia.
A frog is not a mammal. Ah, that's interesting. It's too high power to show anything. You'll find out, won't you? You tell me.
The frog's spinal cord.
Yes, you see, remember this? This is the spinal cord with the gray matter inside the butterfly.
The gray
And now
matter.
the dorsal horn and ventral horn, which are not quite complete here. And the dorsal horn ganglion, right? So if I ask you for this whole structure, that's a dorsal horn ganglion.
Dorsal horn
And the
ganglia.
cell type would be,
Sensory.
what cell type is that?
Sensory.
Sensory neuron.
Neurons.
Sensory neuron, right. Sensory
So the
neurons
cell
live
type
in-
is sensory neuron.
Sensory neurons, that's what live in, excuse me, the ganglia
The motor neurons are in gray matter.
of the,
Yeah,
That part
of the
spinal
spinal cord. Motor neurons in the gray matter of the spinal cord.
the gray matter of the spinal cord, and then you have the dorsal horn, and ventral horn.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So this is the kind of thing that would be a low power slide. The sensory neurons are big enough to see and low power. And as for the motor neurons,
Where are the sensory neurons?
Yeah, what was it again?
And the ganglia,
Those big
these big,
things? Oh, wow,
yes.
okay.
Each one, okay.
the circles.
Each one is a sensory neuron. Yeah, they're very large. So they're large enough to see at low power.
Black
And
dots.
you can see the whole context of the structural arrangement.
Black dots are glial cells, you said?
Well, those look a little large. I'm not sure what those are. Let's zoom up on it a little bit.
The ventricle
I'm not
thing.
sure what those things. So those are much bigger than cells. Those are probably. Those look like probably maybe drops of blood or just artifacts. They don't look like anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you find what he was talking about?
But the what?
What, the blacks?
What were you saying, Mike?
Oh, glial cells? Well, you said they're like
Glial
black
cells,
dots.
yeah, the glial cells. Well, they're let me get to the, show you the, see, this is white matter.
Circles.
This is, now we're in the white matter, the spinal cord. You do see some cell nuclei, a lot of small ones. But somewhere along the line, there we go. This is the dorsal horn, so you can see just some nuclei. They're not very well stained there.
But is that the
They're just glial cell nuclei. You do not find
Glial cell
neuron
nuclei.
cell bodies in the white matter. And neurons are also, they're much bigger. Hello? Mm-hmm.
It's a black.
Hi. What did you say this was? Sue Ellen, oh, hi. Yeah, listen. Yes. After 2? Thanks, bye.
You have that.
No.
There's like a background. Pretty shitty background.
It's okay.
Okay. All right, so that's that. You don't really need to see those. We're mainly looking at the neurons. So the main thing is to not be confused by thinking that they're neurons. All these little darker spots, those are nucleated glial cells. But it's really the neurons, which are like motor neurons, much bigger.
Are they
And sensory neurons.
The glial cells, are they found like throughout the whole thing?
These are motor neurons. What?
Are they found throughout the whole thing or just in certain?
Throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
You'll find glial cells all over the place.
That's
Gray
motor
matter,
neurons.
white matter. But you'll only find the neurons in the gray matter.
That's motor cells? Motor neurons? This?
No, these are
That's sensory, right?
neurons.
Okay.
You see how they're very round?
They're more
whereas the
clear.
motor neurons are much more angular, they're sort of stellate.
Okay.
But the motor neurons we have another view of. So I won't ask you about motor neurons here. I'll ask you to identify them from a slide of motor neurons, which is a smear of the spinal cord. And that, one of my favorite slides. That we don't even need high power.